Okay, I wasn't going to make a video on this, but I figured I might as well, since I'm going to have to do this either way, and people like this sort of stuff. So today I'm going to be doing another test on my homemade backup generator here. Portable generator, automatic transfer switch. Built it myself because we didn't have the utilities to purchase one, and it was cheaper to do it this way and more fun. Issue I had was if the power went out and the generator started, momentarily gave power before losing RPM and then losing the power, it would recover from that because the starter or the controller would engage the starter again and start it. And usually it didn't get to that point that the engine would just recover itself. At that point, the power isn't even transferred to the building yet because I have that on a delay to let the engine stabilize. But sometimes when it's just starting up, it'll make a little bit of power and then it'll slow down and the inverter will shut off. Because the controller has momentarily seen the generator power, it will think it's running. And then if it stalls or almost stalls before starting again, it'll confuse the controller. Then when the utility power comes back on after an outage, because it thinks there's issues, it won't shut the generator down because it just gets all confused. So I emailed the company. I didn't get a response, but there's been times in the past where I haven't got a response and they've actually have fixed it, but they haven't told me they've fixed it. I asked them if they could make it a non-latching sort of situation where once the generator makes power, if it then the power goes away for a little bit, like a couple seconds, it comes back, the controller will then sense that the powers came back. Therefore, when the utility power is back, it hasn't thrown an error code and will shut the generator down properly. So I'm just doing this as a test just to see if it is. I should start the generator up once weekly anyways, so I'm going to have to do this test by pull the utility power, make this start up, and then pull it and then plug it back in and see if I'll open up our transfer switch here. And this is the control fuse I'm going to pull that will shut down our contactors and start our start sequence. I should mention too, I do have a time delayed relay already installed. So when the generator puts out power, it has to stay steady, reliable power for at least 3 seconds before that time delayed relay would close, trying to prevent this issue. But sometimes it happens after the delayed relay and I can only set the timing so high, otherwise it's going to try and crank the generator again when it's really running, which could be damaging. So I'm hoping they can do a software fix too, which is what I've requested, but I haven't heard back. You know, I was going to open up the app, but now I've realized I don't even really need to, because it doesn't matter when abouts we unplug it after the point that it is running. Okay, so that's got the power out in here. This should start. We can close that to make it a little quieter when it starts. When that light comes on, that means it's putting out power. And after a few seconds, it'll take for the app to realize it. So I'm now going to check the app, see what we have. So yep, we have it running, that's fine. But I'm going to do something else here, where I'm going to unplug its generator running voltage. But now I'm going to plug it back in. So now we can go back, check on the app. Now usually that would have thrown a generator error. I feel like I'm being watched. So usually that would throw a 2-wire generator start error, whatever it's called. So let's go back to the app and check. So now we're getting this. Well, we're not getting the error. However, we are getting the mains cooldown delay, which shouldn't be back yet because our utility power hasn't restored. However, that's not actually an issue as it hasn't gone ahead and shut itself down after the 2 minutes. So what it's saying on screen isn't actually what it's doing. So I've waited and made sure that it isn't going to shut it down, which I've had this before where the screen will say things that aren't quite accurate. So we're not really going to worry about the screen. However, it's not saying we have an error and the generator's still running. So hopefully when we put that fuse back in and restore power to the controller and the transfer switch, and basically when power comes back on after an outage, hopefully then the 2 minutes will actually start before shutting the generator down. And if it doesn't shut down, well, we know this problem isn't fixed and that error is still occurring, and I don't know why they won't respond to me. But in the past, they have fixed issues and just hasn't confirmed that it's been changed. So I'm hoping it actually is fixed. Obviously, though, you can see the generator's running fine. By the way, I have videos on my channel of this whole setup, how I built it, basically start to finish, every single thing we've implemented from the building, ventilation, fire alarm, heating, security, fire alarm shutdown sequences, installing the transfer switch, making changes to it, the controller, everything's been documented if you guys are interested, for those of you that are new here for this. But yeah, I can definitely confirm that it is going to keep running even when that power was lost and restored. So I'm going to put this fuse back in here. There's our neutral delay. I don't think I had that fuse fully seated, but I don't want to stop the video or you guys might tell me I did something here. But the generator should now shut down after a couple minutes. And if this problem has fixed, it's here. If this is no longer an issue of it momentarily getting the power, if it then loses RPM before recovering, then I should theoretically be able to remove that time-delayed relay. Because sometimes that time-delayed relay doesn't work in our favor when it will sometimes fire the starter momentarily. I think it actually did that this time on startup, which may be because I've adjusted the timer too much, as I did bump it a little bit after a last monthly test when this gave us problems. But if this is fixed, I'm pretty sure I should be able to remove that timer, as well it won't be needing that anymore, as it's all going to be done in the software. But first of all, I gotta see if this thing's even going to shut down first. I haven't been counting, so I'll just be standing out here waiting for it to shut down. I know it hasn't been 2 minutes yet, though. I'm really hoping this has it fixed, because that'd be nice to get rid of that time-delayed relay instead of putting more wear on the starter and the gear that engages to turn the engine over. Not that it's a common issue, but it is probably 1 in every 10 starts or so. Yeah, so I guess they did do my request of fixing this, because that worked the way I've been wanting it to be. Where if it loses power, if the controller loses its generator running signal and then gets it back, it won't stay stuck in that error code. It won't stay stuck in that state. If that makes sense what I'm trying to say, that it will reset. If the power does come back, then it will just go back and reset like it's supposed to. So that's good. So let's take a look at that timer here. You can see our dampers closing up again. Ventilation shut back down. So I'm happy with that. That's why I was wondering if they may have fixed it. I gave them a few days, actually probably a week. So this is that timer relay here, which, yeah, it's kind of set a little high. So So this is this relay here, which the power that comes in from the cord hits this relay and then hits the power to the relay, the coil, and then the hot jumpers over to the common, and then the other hot comes over here from the normally open side, and then proceeds to go into here, into the terminal of the starter, and then the neutral's just jumpered straight over. However, we don't need any of that anymore. All right, so I'm gonna take this out here. Now, don't really do what I'm doing here. You should actually lock this out because the generator could start right now, but all right, you know what? I could also just unplug the cord. There you go. So that's our neutral from the controller, and then that's our hot and neutral from the cord, where it jumps over from our coil hot to our relay here. That's just going to our common. Sorry if the camera angle keeps moving. The camera's installed on the door, so the door is swinging in the wind a little bit. Now, I could put these all the way back down in there. However, I already have these bigger conductors in there secure, so I'm just going to splice them. Because I think these bigger ones that are currently in here, I think they're 16 gauge, and it's not quite as fine of a stranded conductor. So I like them in those terminal blocks. I think they hold in there nicely. Better than this little 18 gauge cord, at least. But I can say I'm definitely happy to remove this relay. It's one less thing going on in here, and I don't know. I'm not sure where I stand with it. In lots of ways, I would prefer relay logic to software. However, in this thing, when this thing gets shaken around like crazy and it's already busy in here, it just seems like for this, it's one less mechanical failure point and one less thing to deal with. Depends on what it is, how I feel about it. Like, I had to put tape on this because this thing would come out of here, but that's now spliced right together. Those are tight. We still do have this relay for there. That's what was that for even? That was the generator start signal, right? Because its coil is coming off the building's utility power, but it started with 12 volts from the battery, or it's signaled to start with 12 volts from the battery. Don't forget to plug this back into the generator. Okay, so that is good now. Okay, this is good. That little thing with the software where it would lose power and then wouldn't basically sense that the power came back and would just stay in this state of an error code, and then when power come back on, it wouldn't shut the generator down. That was annoying. And while that temporary fix of the relay did work, well, it was temporary fix, and this was something I wanted to get fixed properly with the software, which seems to have now been done. So hopefully that will cause us less problems with the generator. It's never really an issue with the generator starting, but it was an issue that then the generator wouldn't shut back down. So that was annoying, and I hope that this should be just a little bit more reliable now. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Pretty simple one. Probably wouldn't have even made it if it failed, because that would have been a boring video. So that's going to be it for this one. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you do have any comments or questions, feel free to leave those down in the comment section. And if you do enjoy the channel, make sure to subscribe. Alrighty guys, thanks for watching.